Solana was supposed to be dead after FTX. Instead, it's processing 65,000 transactions every second, flipping Ethereum and NFTs, empowering Visa. No hype or noise, though. This is Solana's quiet domination while no one was watching. To understand how we got here, we need to rewind everything. In the beginning, there was Ethereum, which was hailed as the future of decentralized everything. It wasn't just a cryptocurrency, but a platform. Smart contracts, DeFi, NFTs. Ethereum was the playground where it all happened first. Developers flocked to it, and billion-dollar protocols were born. And for a while, it seemed untouchable. But then came the cracks. Gas fees surged. A single transaction could cost more than a meal. The network slowed under its own weight. Ethereum had ambition but no scalability, and users were frustrated, so builders looked elsewhere. And that's when Solana entered the scene. Built from scratch with a different vision, Solana wasn't trying to replace Ethereum's ideals. It just wanted to make them work faster and cheaper. Its architecture allowed lightning-fast transactions for fractions of a cent. No layers or roll-ups, just raw speed. While Ethereum debated and delayed, Solana quietly built, slowly but surely. Soon that underdog started gaining ground, not with big headlines, but with working infrastructure. And that's what changed everything. But Solana's real test was when its biggest ally became its curse. When FTX collapsed in November 2022, it didn't just shake the crypto market, it nearly buried Solana with it. Sam Bankman-Fried wasn't just a supporter, he was Solana's loudest champion. FTX had poured millions into Solana's ecosystem. SOL tokens were locked in FTX's balance sheet. Projects like Serum were co-developed with direct FTX involvement. And when the empire fell, so did confidence in Solana. The price cratered, dropping nearly 97% from its all-time high. NFT platforms like YR0Ts and DeGods jumped ship, migrating to Ethereum and Polygon. Analysts called it a death spiral. To many, Solana was just collateral damage in SBF's implosion. But then something unexpected happened. The chain didn't go down, developers stayed, and founders stepped in. Core projects were rewritten to cut all FTX ties as Solana rebooted itself. Not with a rebrand, but with resilience. No bailout or savior, just code, community, and conviction. In a space obsessed with hype, Solana quietly cleaned house and came back stronger, without the crutch it once leaned on. But instead of announcing its comeback, Solana let the numbers do the talking. While other chains chased attention, Solana focused on adoption. We're talking real products with real users. Solana Pay quietly rolled out, letting merchants accept crypto with near zero fees. Then came the Saga Phone, a mobile device built for Web3. Not just a flashy concept, but a tool with native crypto integration. And then Helium migrated its entire network of over 900,000 hotspots to Solana. Why? Speed, cost, simplicity, no layer 2, no gas nightmares, and the list could go on forever. Just a monolithic chain doing what it promised. By 2024, Solana had clocked millions of active addresses free of bots and wash traders. These were real users, transacting for fractions of a penny. Even Visa took notice, integrating Solana to settle stablecoin payments at blazing speeds. Shopify followed soon as the tech didn't just work. It scaled, silently, still. Here's the twist. There was no marketing blitz, no billion-dollar incentive program. Solana didn't hype its comeback at all. It just showed up in the background of apps people actually used. Solana's loudest moment came through the one thing Ethereum didn't expect. When Ethereum focused on infrastructure upgrades and layer 2 complexities. Solana did something Ethereum forgot. It captured culture. In late 2023, NFT activity didn't just return, it exploded. But not on Ethereum. It was Solana's chain that lit up first. Collections like Tensorians, Mad Lads, and OK Bears started pushing real volume, but the spark came from memes. Coins like Bonk and WIF, Dog We've Had, weren't just jokes, they became icons. Retail flooded in and Twitter profiles updated with laser-eyed Solana dogs as a new energy took over. And for the first time, Solana's trading volume in NFTs passed Ethereum's. Why? Because it worked. It was fast, cheap, fun, all the while allowing you to mint, trade, and flip for literal pennies. While Ethereum's gas fees still hovered in double digits, Solana made participation accessible. Retail didn't care about modular chains or dank sharding, they just wanted to play. And when they did, they chose Solana. This kind of shift isn't just about hype, but more about infrastructure that actually works. And if you're into crypto and want more stories that go beyond the headlines, subscribe now because we go real deep. Now here's what was behind Solana's rise. Ethereum's refusal to make the hard trade-offs. Ethereum wasn't blind to its problems. It just chose the long road to fix them. Sharding, roll-ups, layer 2s, and now proto-dank sharding. Each solution added complexity, and each upgrade promised the future. But for everyday users, the present was still broken. Bridging is clunky, and fees vary. Finality isn't always clear. For developers, it's a puzzle. For new users, it's a mess. Solana, by contrast, took a different path. One chain, one environment, and one experience. It wasn't elegant by Ethereum standards, but it sure worked. Even Vitalik Buterin, Ethereum's own founder, recently admitted monolithic chains are underrated. It was a subtle nod to what Solana had been doing all along. The irony? Ethereum is filled with brilliant minds, but maybe it's that very brilliance that slowed it down. Over-engineered and over-abstracted, it was built for perfection, not participation. Solana bet on simplicity. Ethereum bet on theory. And in a market that moves in real time, theory often loses to execution. But the biggest signal wasn't memes or money. It was the builders themselves. We know crypto follows code, and quietly, developers started choosing Solana, not for ideology, but for performance. GitHub commits surged as Solana's developer retention rate quietly surpassed Ethereum's. Why? Because building on Solana was fast. No fragmented ecosystems or endless bridging logic. It was just raw throughput and clean APIs. Solana's hacker houses, real-world dev hubs, sprouted across the globe, drawing thousands. Then came the mobile stack, a full-on mobile development suite built into the Saga phone. And no other chain was thinking that far ahead. Behind the scenes, a new validator client called Firedancer, built by Jump Crypto, was pushing Solana toward even more speed and reliability. Meanwhile, the ecosystem wasn't stalling, it was exploding. Jupiter became the go-to DEX aggregator, and Phantom evolved into a slick, consumer-grade wallet. Pyth Network delivered real-time financial data from the real world directly on-chain. This wasn't just hype. This was infrastructure that was built, deployed, and used. The builders weren't talking about the future anymore because they had already begun coding it on Solana. And sometimes the biggest power shift happens without anyone ringing the bell. Everyone watches the charts, market cap, TVL, and coin rankings. But the real flippening isn't on CoinGecko. It's happening in behavior. Retail traders? They've moved to Solana. Developers? They're shipping on Solana first. New NFTs, meme coins, DEX activity, all increasingly happening away from Ethereum. Ethereum might always be the king, the original smart contract pioneer, but in the same way iOS was first, it was Android that reached the masses. Ubiquity beats polish, and simplicity beats perfection. Solana isn't trying to replace Ethereum at the top. It's becoming the default beneath it, the chain that powers the day-to-day. The one people actually use because it works. And that's what makes this shift so dangerous for Ethereum. It's just quiet dominance through performance. The real war isn't about price, it's about who builds the rails of the future. And Solana might already be laying the tracks. Is Solana just having a moment or quietly becoming crypto's new default? Let us know what you think.